Welcome to next tutorials of React Native Basics. In the previous tutorials, I walked you through how to install React Native on your computer using Expo CLI. Okay, so in the next tutorials that we are going to work on, we are going to dive into the core component of React Native. So in this tutorials, we will talk about buttons, views, text input, scroll view, and flat list. Okay. And these are the most common components that every React app needs. So you need to know the basis of the React API or the component that you be used often in your React project. Okay, so now let's get started. So let me open my project, and then in the previous lesson, like I walked you through, create your first project with Expo. Okay, so this is what I have here. Okay, so next let me open the app using this command yarn start. If you're using npm, it will be npm start. Okay, and this will open the project for you here like so. Okay, and you can see that starting Metro bundler on port 919001. So next, either you look on the left hand side, you can see run on Android device or run on iOS simulator. Okay, so first let me click on run on iOS. You can use the command line here and just type in A for Android and I for iOS. Okay, so you see that is opening here on my iOS simulator. Okay, good, it's opening. Okay, so the next component or the next section is what we're going to talk about is diving into the core component of React Native. Okay, so now let's go through the official documentation so that you know where you can find and read more at your leisure time. Okay, so I have it here, and go to React Native .dev, and under API section you will see a couple of APIs we are going to talk about. Okay, so now come back to our folder. Okay, so the next step is you have to create a folder to structure your app. Okay, so we will name our folder as what? Screens. That is the convention. Screens. Okay, sorry, let me rename it and say screens like so. Before coming to this folder, now let's go to the app.js, which is the entry file for our app. Let me delete everything here and start from a clean sheet. Okay, now let's look at our simulator on iPhone. You can see that our app is broken because we have deleted the main entry files for the app. Okay, so to get started, first let's import React from React. Okay, this is same as React for web. Okay, and let's create our first component called app. Okay, so I will say const, I will use functional component, const app is equal to a function. Okay, this is same as creating our component in for the web. Okay, so the next is let's return, we return from here JS expansion syntax. Okay, here, so next one is in React Native for web, what we do is we just use this div, but in React Native we have a special component. First component you want to talk about is called a view. Okay, view. So let's import it from here. Import from React Native. Okay, so the view component here is is a div. Let me say for the web, it's a div that holds all other components. If you want to render multiple components, you need to wrap them in a view. Okay, so now let me wrap everything here in a view. Okay, so let me save it, and inside here is what you house all your components. Okay, so the view is just like a container to house all other components. Okay, good. So the next component to talk about is called the text. Okay, now when we refresh our app and then go to look at our simulator and then refresh it, still you can see that I have some error because I didn't export this one to export default app. Okay, so that's accessible. And now come back to our, you see, now I have blank screen. Now when you want to refresh your simulator on Mac, we are using iPhone, just type in Command R to refresh your simulator or the iPhone. Okay, so the next is let's talk about the text component. So when you go to the official documentation and you click on text, okay, a text is a component. Okay, so to able to display text, you cannot type in, let's say, H1 here, and let's say welcome is not allowed in React Native. Okay, so now let's see what happens when you do that. You see everything is broken. Invariant valuation text string must be rendered within text component. Exactly. So to be able to render text on the screen, the first thing you need to do have import text component from React Native. So now let's import here text here, and to display this welcome, just type in text, and in between you can see welcome. Exactly. So now let's see what happens after doing that. Okay, now you can see the text is over here, but it's at the top corner of our screen. So what is happening here? By default, React Native don't come with default styling, so we have to style everything on our screen. Okay, in that case, the way we do styling in React Native is a little bit different. But so now let's import. To able to style your component, you need to import what is called style sheet. Okay, from style sheet is a way of what giving a style to a component. Okay, so now under your component, let's create a style const and say style is equal to we are going to create our style sheet. Styles, let me say styles is equal to style sheet dot create. Okay, and this is an object, but before you're able to understand how to start React Native, you need to understand the base of Flexbox, because React Native is all about Flexbox. I'll have a section for Flexbox tutorials. Okay, so now for the meantime, let's see how to create style a component. Okay, so inside this curly bracket, let's say I have an object. This object is the styles, and I will name it container. And inside here, I can say flex1. Flex1 means it will take all the available space. For the meantime, just if you don't have knowledge about Flexbox, just hang on and I'll walk you through. I'll have a section for that. Okay, so to able to apply Flexbox the style for this component, this is a div. We use it on our view component. So we say style is equal to styles.container. Okay, so when you do that and save it and come back to our component, our view here, you can see nothing has been affected. It's still, we still see our welcome at the top corner of here. So what is happening here? So doing this one, giving a Flexbox doesn't mean that it will center. You need additional properties from Flexbox by saying that, okay, I want my whole div to take all the available space on my screen. Okay, so now if you give it a style, let's say a background color of red, you can see that it applies to all the screen to be red. Now let's see. Okay, so now let's apply background color to, let's say, red to be visible. Okay, red. Now you can see that now it's red because it's taking all the available space on my screen. Red. Okay, so now how can I center my welcome and make it bold here? So for Flexbox, we have what is called justify content, which applies to the parent. Okay, I can see that justify content, so I can say it should be center. Okay, and you can see that here the welcome is being centered. It's a little bit small. Now let me ask, sorry, text, and I would say my font size will be 20. Okay, but remember in React Native, if you want to apply, for example, font size, you shouldn't use maybe pixels, RAM, or whatever, just the number. Okay, that's absolute number. So now when you save it, you can see that our welcome text is still small because we haven't applied the text to the text component, text style. Okay, so now here I can say style is equal to styles.text. Okay, now let's see. You can see that now it's a little bit bigger, so let me increase it. Let me give a size of, let's say, 60. Now you see, boom, is you can give it a color of white. Boom. Okay, now you want it to be centered. So what you do is you use what is called align item from Flexbox. So I can see that align items will apply to specific, which is called center. Okay, and you can see that now we have our welcome being centered here. So to wrap up for this session, we talk about the view component and the text component and how to apply styles to your component. Okay, so if you don't grab this concept about how to apply the style to your component, don't worry, I will have a section for Flexbox and you'll be comfortable with it. Okay, so now if I make mine a little bit smaller here, you can see that, like I told you, you have view from React Native and text and styles from React component. That's what I work on right now. So in the next section, I will talk about button. Thank you for watching.